welcome to something to talk about.
Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. I'm your host, Taco, and I'm talking about character, man. It's Saturday morning, dude, and we're doing a Song About Some Fire character. We're doing one of these. Pause this, read this if you don't know what's going on, but really, spoilers for the book and possibly the show is the most important thing to know. And yeah, we are covering a character that I don't have any art for, so I hope you like seeing different interpretations of Riverrun. It's like a lot of my art. And then just random stuff. So yeah, we're talking Utherydes. I've seen somebody just say it's authorize is how you would say it. I don't know, man. Authorize, Utherydes. It's a made-up freaking word. I'm going to just say Utherydes, or I might just say Wayn, but I did type Utherydes the whole time. So I literally spent way more time than I ever thought I would looking up different ways to pronounce, and almost none of them were the same. And I even had people say in my comments, it's Authorized Wayn or whatever, Authority Wayn. I'm going to go with Utherydes. Because it makes the most sense. Utherydes. All right. It doesn't matter, man. It's a guy. He's a steward at Riverrun. And yeah, so Utherydes Wayn is a steward at Riverrun under Lord Hoster and then later Edmure Tully. Edmure Tully, not Edmund. Edmure Tully. See that name? I'll try to do right. Utherydes, along with Desmond Grell and Roger Ryger. Roger Ryger are the old men in the service of Hoster Tully. He is grave, gaunt, dour, and melancholy, this guy, Mr. Wayn. Mr. Wayn? When you hear Wayn right away, do you go to, oh man, I'm like, oh, focusing out. A little blurry. Do you go right to Wayne Campbell from Wayne's World, or do you go to like Bruce Wayne? There you go. That's something to contemplate. House Wayn of Gotham. House Wayn is a noble house from the Riverlands. It is unknown whether the Waynes are related to House Waynwood. We don't know that. Lord Christopher Wayn participated in the Battle of the Green Fork during the Faith Militant Uprising. Oh, wow. Visenya Targaryen used Vhagar to set aflame in a single night the seats of House Wayn, Blaintree, Deddings, Leicester, and Tarek. So yeah, Maegor the Cruel took Balerion, the Black Dread, and he went to the Westerlands and burned a bunch of houses, like House Doggett. I don't have him in front of me. And then Visenya, his mommy, on Vhagar, his granny, kinda, set all these houses in the Riverlands ablaze because they were part of the Faith Militant, and they, you know, and Visenya and Maegor were horrible. That's all they raged for. They burned people alive. People were like, "Oh, they were just doing what they got to, man. They've just put down rebellions. Just burning children alive is how you do it." Yeah. All right. Sorry, Visenya and Maegor apologies, but I will take shots whenever I can because I don't like burning entire buildings alive to be justified, which some people do. All right, sorry. The old steward. When Lady Catelyn arrives at Riverrun, her father's steward, who I assume is Utherydes, informs her that Lord Hoster Tully is bedridden and has instructed him to bring his daughter to his bed at once. Looking at him, Lady Catelyn is surprised at how old and gray the steward has become. So we don't get this steward's name, but she calls him her father's steward, to be Mr. Wayn. And then she talks about how old he is, which is something that she does like every other time she sees him. So we just assume this steward in this scene is him. So that's earlier on. That's in the first book. So then after her mission to secure an alliance with Renly Baratheon has failed because of his ultimate death Yeah, because of his untimely, there you go, ultimate death. Untimely death. Catelyn goes back to Riverrun, now with Brienne Tarth as her sworn sword. Edmure rode out from the castle to meet her, surrounded by the three old men, her father's three sworn men, the great-bellied Desmond Grell, man, that belly is great, the Master at Arms, Sir Robin Ryger, Riverrun's big, bald captain of the guards, and our boy who we're talking about, Utherydes Wayn. They were all three of an age of with Hoster, men who have spent their entire lives in her father's service. Old men, Catelyn thinks. Cat and Eddie talk about Renly's death, and Edric Storm, yeah, because they were like, Courtney Penrose sent me your letter, blah, blah, blah. Cat then introduces Brienne to all the old men, and they all say, honored, together. And then Brienne flushes. Eddie, good old Edmure, tells Cat about the false envoys that they got with Cleo's Frey that tried to free Jaime. Utherydes asks, can we hope for no help from the south, Lady Stark? This charge of incest. Lord Tywin does not suffer such slights lightly. We will seek to wash the stain from his daughter's name with the blood of her accuser. He shall, not we will. He will seek to wash the stain. You guys know what I mean. Lord Stannis must see that he has no choice but to make common cause with us. So what he's trying to say is Stannis is telling everybody that Joffrey and Tommen and Myrcella, which just did a video for, are all bastards. And Tywin's not going to stand for that, and he's going to attack Stannis. So if Stannis wants a chance, he should make common cause with the Starks. That's what he's saying. He's trying to say. Ned's boons. So this is still the same conversation. Ned says that they should talk about it later, and walks over the drawbridge. Cat asks if Robb can be reached by Raymonds, and Desmond Grell tells her that her son is in the field. And then Utherydes Wayn coughs and says, before he left, the young king instructed us to send you to the twins upon your return, Lady Stark. He asks that you learn more of Lord Walder's daughters and help him select his bride when the time comes. Cat turns this down and says that she wants to stay at Riverrun and that she's not going to do that. She's like, yeah, I'm just not going to do that one. Cat and Eddie go to the Godswoods alone to speak about meeting Tywin in the field. Cat then goes to speak to her dying and confused father, Hostine. It's not Hostine, it's Hoster. Why did I write Hostine? That's hilarious. Hostine Frey, Catelyn's dad. Everybody knows that. After she finds Utherydes outside her chambers with two women clad in gray. So after she goes and talks to Hoster, she finds Utherydes with these two women clad in gray. Their faces are cowled, save for their eyes. And Cat knew that they were silent sisters and asks, Ned? The sisters lower their gaze. Utherydes says, Sir Cleos brought them from King's Landing, my lady. They take her to him, so Ned's body. The silent sisters, of course, are traveling with Ned's body. And she says that she wants to be alone with him. Utherydes tells her, only the bones remain, my lady. She demands that they show her the she says that she wants to look at him, and then Utherydes warns, like, dude, it's just the bones, you sure? And she demands that they show her his fleshless bones. She does notice that his sword is missing. It's a different sword that the bones have, and she says that is not his sword. And Uthi, I call him Uthi sometimes, Uthi answers, ice was not returned to us, my lady. Only Lord Eddard's bones. Cat thinks that they must thank the queen for even that much. Like, yeah, we're surprised she even gave us the bones. Uthi says, thank the imp, my lady. It was his doing. Yeah, it was Tyrion who sent the bones. She thinks it, and the would-be assassins to try to free Jaime. She thanks the sisters and asks them to take the bones to Winterfell and asks the steward to ready them for their journey. So good old Uthi goes to get the Silent Sisters ready. So yeah. Jaime's escape. Well, waiting for the outcome of the Battle of the Fords that goes on around Riverrun, Lady Catelyn commands Utherydes to provide Sir Cleos Frey with a flagon of wine, as she wants to loosen his tongue before questioning him about the peace terms sent by Tyrion. The old steward says, "As you command, my lady." This is after Lady Catelyn planned the escape for Jaime Lannister. Yeah, she goes and sets him free with Brienne, right? It falls on Riverrun's Castellan, Sir Desmond Grell, to confine her to until Robb decides what to do with her. Because he feels uneasy about this task of making Lord Hoster Tully's daughter a prisoner, Sir Desmond brings Uthi with along when he talks to Cat. So Uthi stands with Desmond, grave and gaunt and melancholy, and Desmond says that they heard the news of Cat's sons. Utherydes adds, "We share your grief, my lady. After all, Riverrun mourns with you, but..." And Desmond jumps in, saying that the news must have driven her crazy and into a, quote, mother's madness. They're trying to justify her freeing Jaime because she found out about her kids being dead, although they're not really dead. And that men would understand, like, hey, as long as we say it's some crazy woman thing, men are going to get it. That's what they're trying to say. I love it. It's horrible. Kat says that she knew what she was doing and that she wasn't mad. It wasn't no mother's madness. She tells them to put her in fetters. Like, oh, you're going to put me in iron fetters? Des says that he could not do that to the queen's mother and their lord's daughter. So I noticed something there where Desmond Grell, so this is more about Desmond Grell, but he's been spending so much time with Catelyn like her entire life, right? And then she's like, "Oh, you gotta lock me up. You gotta put on those fetters." And he doesn't go, "No, because you're Catelyn and I respect you." He says no because of the men in her life, not because of who she is as a person. You guys notice that? Like, no, because you're a woman for Robb and a woman for Hoster, right? You're not Catelyn Stark, lady. You are Robb's mom and Hoster's daughter. I found that really weird, like that little subtlety of like, you're only as important as the most important men you're connected to. It's a little hidden horrible misogyny there. Yeah, I just that just jumped out at me when I was writing this. So yeah. Utherydes says, "Mayhaps my mother would consent to be confined." What? "Perhaps my lady." There we go. "Perhaps my mom." Have you met my mom? Little Wayn. Mayhaps. He didn't even say perhaps. All right, let's start this all over. Utherydes says, "Mayhaps my lady would consent to be confined to her chambers until Lord Edmure returns, a time alone to pray for her murdered sons." And she agrees, but only if it's in her father's chamber. So they lock her in there. All right, we're getting done. Robb's return. Desi, good old Desmond, leaves, but sad-eyed Utherydes Wayn. So this is still the same scene, right? So one of them leaves, but Uthi stays. Lingered for a moment and says, "It was a grave thing you did, my lady, but for naught. Sir Desmond has Sir Robin Ryger after them." Did I say Roger earlier and it's Robin? Oh my God. It is Robin Ryger. The Rygers. Okay. I'm going to make sure which one is right here. Robin Ryger. Yeah, no, this one's right. So I was wrong the first time when I called him Roger Ryger. Robin Ryger. So he says, "It was a grave thing you did, my lady, but for naught. Sir Desmond has sent Sir Robin Ryger after them to bring back the Kingslayer. or failing that, his head. Yeah, alive or dead. Later, Hoster was muttering about somebody named Tansy, which she doesn't realize is the tansy flower, but Tansy. Cat doesn't understand and has the maester ask Utherydes if there was a Tansy who once served at Riverrun. But Utherydes is certain that there was no woman by that name who has been at Riverrun during his time. And he's been here for a long time. So I believe Tansy is like a flower or herb that is part of like moon tea. But she thinks it's a person. And even when she asks the maester goes, well, the small folk like to name people after flowers a lot. So maybe it was a small folk like a servant girl. But really, it's just Hoster dealing with the guilt of forcing moon tea on Liza Tully when she got pregnant. So yeah, a little bit of guilt for that. When King Robert returns to Riverrun, Cat goes to see him and her uncle Brendan, and Uthi announces Lady Catelyn's presence with a bang of his staff. He bangs it on the floor. That's super cool. When Sir Desmond escorts her to her son during the reception, he also later, he does that when she comes in, and then later signals the end of the meeting with the bang of his staff. That's pretty cool. Like, oh no, banging the staff on the floor. When Robb asks, when Robb asks him to do so, Robb later advises his wife, Jane Westerling, and her mother Sybil that Utherydes will find accommodations for them, and Edmure Tully offers to escort them out. So surprisingly, this is the last that we see of him, is at this meeting where he bangs his staff, if you get what I'm saying. And there's no mention of him during Jaime's time there after the Red Wedding. We'll talk more about it in the next slide. So we know that, I call him Roger again. We know that Robin Ryder and Desmond Grell both take the black after Jaime achieves the surrender of Riverrun. It is weird that we don't hear about him at all. It is super weird, but that's what I'm talking about here. So give me a sec. Where is he? What's the deal with Utherydes Wayn? This was a request from Harvo H. Way back over a year ago, my Tyne Sand vid. So if you are still watching and still subscribed, thanks, dude. Sorry it took so long. I put it in the list. It takes us long, though. List is long. All right. So I looked and found no theories on him. So if there isn't even art for the guy, let alone theories. But when I was writing this, I started to think about how weird it is that there was no mention of him after the Red Wedding and Jaime lifting the siege. You would think with Jaime there, right, and during the terms of her surrender, that he would talk to the steward, or they would at least mention the steward. The steward's not involved in the surrender of the entire castle. That's kind of a surprise. And I don't think he's dead, because the appendix for both Feast and Dance mention him to be the steward of Riverrun. They don't say died during the siege, died during this. They still say he's alive. Maybe I'm looking too hard into this, but it does seem odd. I think it seems odd because when you look at the three old men of Riverrun, right, you have Robin Ryder, and Desmond Grell and Utherydes Wayn. And we know two of them are part of the surrender of Riverrun and take the black. But Mr. Wayn, you didn't really think she would end up with Wayn, did you? Mr. Wayn isn't part of that. So did he like escape at some point? Is he doing some stuff? It's really weird that he's not mentioned. I think it's weird at least, but maybe I'm just being crazy and I'm just thinking about it too much. I don't know. I think it's a little odd. There you guys go. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you haven't. I'm back. I'm making videos again. I had a break a little while ago, but yeah, a good old Uthi was a small character, but I think still interesting. And yeah, thank you, Harbo H, for that. So now I've covered him and Desmond Grell. So yeah, Robin Ryder doesn't really have too much to cover, and if I did, it would be pretty much the exact same video I just made, like because they're pretty much around anytime one of them's around, the other one's around. So yeah, cool little look into Riverrun, though. I like these scenes. I love Catelyn and Robb's times at Riverrun. I think they're cool chapters. All right, that's all I got. Peace.